Alright, I went through this when I was for my cattle shoot that I was redoing, but I'll do it for this because I'm going to go blast the basket for my Genie S40. But this is my little portable sandblaster I got. This is not part of it. This is a separate hand unit doodad. We'll put him over here. Guess what's in there? Curry 9-inch Willwood disc brakes, posi, nodular iron center. It's for my Torino whenever I get around to it. But I did buy, and then I also did put this in the, when I was doing the cattle shoot. So this is one that I bought, but I did make one as well. This is the blasting medium I'm using. And gotta see if I have another bucket of it. I'll see. Because, well, I'll show you here in a second. The baskets, you know, the stuff is all rod. It's not like big flat surfaces. So sandblasting things that are just purely round rod, just like that cattle chute, just eats up a lot of medium. Because you're not doing just like big flat surfaces, you know, doing rods, piping, just uses more. Alright, let me get my Tyvek suit, my face shield. Got to get a couple of things here that I'm going to use for my adventure task. First step with the suit, cut the bottom of the feet off. So that's what I did. Let's see about loading this bugger up. This is the one I made with parts I bought, and I could have just bought the whole damn thing like this one for less than what I put it together. Lesson learned. This is what came with the unit, except these ceramic rubber tips and that metal plate. You have this all in the cattle chute one. Gets eaten up. So this dead man switch, you just gotta, you gotta just be quick with it, because it eats away the nozzles, and it eats away this metal backing plate. But I bought, as you can see, I bought some kits, especially the kits for the metal backing plates. That's what I really want. So that's that. And this is this plastic. This is just such a cheap thing, but what I use is my face shield that I bought. I put it on in conjunction with this, and it acts like a full face mask. Just kind of cool. I did buy one. I got a better quality one. I just have to, like, assembly required, as is with everything. Just could do this outside. It would be lighter to move this out there. So I'll continue this outside, so I don't have to carry the whole heavy thing out there. Fill it up out there at the job site. All right. I am in costume. Zip the zipper on my Tyvek. I need to watch out for labels and for stinging critters, which there's plenty around. both labels, safety labels, all kinds of stuff around. But I'm kind of low on my medium here. Thought I had another bucket. I've got sodium, but I don't even know if you can hear me. So here we go. Goes through a lot of medium. I could probably fine-tune it a better, and I'm not really wanting to get it down to bare metal. That's the thing. I just want it crap off of it, so when I paint it, it can have a chance of sticking. So I think I have some powder. Let's see if that powder will work. Might get jacked up in the nozzle, in the schnozzle, but we'll see. I can use the dead man, although I think I think this is what it might work. We'll see. Let me go inside here and check it out. But you can see in some areas it's a little better. Got some stuff. I started trying to focus in on areas that would be a pain in the ass to get with the grinding wheel, but I got that brilliant idea after I started. But like I got in here pretty good on that side where you clip in, down there a bit, the rotator mount. I'll get it. So it looks better, man. Thing just looks ratty right now. Alright, this is let's see what it looks like. I've had this around forever. Hold on here a second. I think this will work great. I thought it was a powder, but it's a real fine grain, very fine granular. I think this will work. Surely. I mean, I don't know anything about what medium should be used with what size nozzle and things like that, so I'm just going with what I got and see how it goes. And if it like just blows the crap out of this stuff and it just like, you know, sucks it dry in seconds, and I'll probably change up and maybe go to the dead man and change the size of nozzle and step it down. But if what I have works, hey, that'll be great. There's some clumping in it, so here's my solution. Some screen door screen in the funnel. See how it goes. I was thinking, well, I could just put a big piece over this and then just dump into the funnel. That might have to, a big piece over the bucket. So what I did is I poured that into the bucket because it's easier than to pour from the bucket into the funnel than out of the bag. So let's see what happens here. Put the screen over the bucket. That's what I think I need to do. Yeah, this will take forever. Let me go re-evaluate the situation. Let's see how this will do. Screen over that. Change in plans. The that other media not working very well. It's really a real fine. It's more for like detail blasting where you're not wanting to remove but just kind of clean. So it's just not working. Like here, like that even went too far. The stuff that I had, I think it's like 80 grit, 120 grit. It blasted that down to metal, and I didn't kind of want to go quite that far, but that other one, it's almost, you have to be on it like a pencil, you know, very detailed, focused spot. I was just going to burn through so much, make a bigger mess, and not get anywhere. So I'm going to move on to old school here. Nibbler, wire wheel, leather gloves, and go at it that way. So that's what I'm gonna do. But this is what it's looking like now. Hopefully it'll look better when I'm all said and done. Okay. So I'm taking the hood, or I got it off. The hood that goes over the control box. So to take it off, get it stuff. And of course, these are like safety, you know, stars. 3 of the 4, no problem. But of course, one has always got to give you a freaking, you know, attitude. So had to break out the vice grips. Fortunately, there was enough room to push that forward so I could get a bite on the head of that stupid ass thing. And then anyway, I got it finally. Stupid simple stuff always winds up being a pain in the ass. PETA, and I'm not talking about people eating tasty animals. I'm talking about pain in the ass PETA. So I'm going to take that off, take it into the shop. And I'm gonna toss some primer on here just to keep rust from coming back on the stuff that I wheeled. And I guess this is what you get for buying Chinese wire wheels. I may have used it 45 minutes, and a quarter of it is missing. Quarter plus. Anyway, I'm gonna get some primer tossed on this just to keep the rust from building back up on where I got. And then I think I might just buy more blasting media, the bigger grit stuff, because doing this with the wheel sucks. And takes probably just as long, if not longer, and you don't get as good as result. So I think I'm gonna have to go buy some more media, because the stuff I have is just too fine. It's not for this job. All right, for now, peace. All right, this is this is what I've swapped to from that glass bead or sodium or whatever that stuff is. But I'm hoping 70 grit is not too stout for too coarse for my blaster. I had a problem with other stuff clogging up. Just a hint, if anybody is using Harbor Freight blasting media in these white tubs, is you got to use a screwdriver to break that up, and then use pliers to pull it around. And I use a screwdriver to help get this lip up off. These things are a pain in the ass to get off. And watch your hands, because if you don't have gloves on or something and you're trying to pull it up by hand and you don't get a full motion to get it off, and you gotta do a double take, it can pinch your fingers in there pretty freaking good. You don't need to ask me how I know. That old saying, I know because I know. I know. How could you know? As Christopher Walken would say, how could you know? Because I know. That's how I know. All right, let's go load this guy up and see if it's going to be a debacle. Trying to beat some rain. Yesterday was an adventurous day, if you will. I did some reclamation. I have piles around the back of the property from debris I've taken over the years, the trees and stuff I took down, and one of them became, we called it groundhog holler. Groundhogs kept coming back in there and just, they build these tunnels, and when we had cattle and horses around, it's not cool having holes in the ground. So anyway, I was Mr. the Destructor on Groundhog Holler yesterday. All right, well, let me put you up on my head here. All right, let's see what we got happening here. I'm not going to put a lot in here off the get-go. Let's see how this stuff works. Let's see how it jives first. Put the lid back on that. Let's do this first. Let's pressurize. I already turned the compressor on. I'll show you that sometime. I got a hell of a deal on my compressor. I got it off, I think it was eBay, but it was from a dental office, and it had very little use on it. The dental office closed up, but so it was protected inside. It's a big what is it, chambers? I'll think of it here in a second. It's like 150 gallon horizontal tank, big pump. It was a good score. I've had it now probably 10-12 years. might work. Let's see, hopefully it won't clog. Hopefully. All right, I gotta get changed. I need my cap. Cover, whatever. Okay. I didn't spray that properly. With the turn. Sure. Don't you know it? Come on. Up. Alright, hopefully this works here. Alright. See how this is gonna go. All right, so it's not perfect, but I got a lot of the bulk of what was already bare. Like I said, I'm not making this perfect. I'm just trying to make it a little bit better since I had it off and before I put it back on the lift, since I redid the boom or the rotator and the leveling, the slave cylinder for the leveling. So I figured I might as well touch this thing up. So before it rains today, I'm gonna shoot some primer on it, but first I'm gonna take a sandy disc, floppy disc thing here and hit some areas and wipe it down and get some primer on it before it rusts again. All right, got some of the globules off, and I think I'm gonna wipe it down, use some brake clean, and I think I'm going to start spraying some primer on it. I'm not using the spray gun, I'm rattle canning it. It started the other night. Just put a quick coat on it for some of the stuff I had ground down. All right, well, let me get going. Again, not making it perfect, just making it better while I had it off. I need to get my lift going again here. All right, I got it touched up with some primer, self-etching Rust-Oleum. I think it's actually automotive primer. So then I bought some safety blue paint, and that's going to rattle can it as well. And then I think I'll put it back on the lift. I'll raise it to get the underside. Tried to get under the top bar with the primer, but kind of difficult. So I'll get what I can best from top side, and then I'll, like I said, put the rotator and that slave cylinder back on and lift it up and paint underneath the stuff, underneath the bars and the platform. probably put some grating over this stuff. I won't pull this out, but I'll put some grating on over it. So that stuff's kind of wallered out. With that, I'll put a piece of plywood. Cut a piece of plywood, lay it in there. Maybe that's what I'll do. Give it a flat base. Alright, I think that's all I'm doing for this Sunday, folks. Clean up, go hang out in the pool, start it all over tomorrow. Okay. So we've gotten well over an inch of rain since I kind of did some blasting and got some primer on this, and as you can see, there's already rust coming through the primer. So it's what it's gonna be, man. I'm just gonna paint. I'm tired of, I don't have a lot of time to invest, and I've already invested more than what I had wanted or ever intended to. So this is what I'm going to use. It's a Rust-Oleum. I've used this on other stuff, and it's a safety blue color. I'll show you the cap in a little bit, but yeah, I'm not using the painter for this. I'm just going to rattle can it, and that's the way it's going to be. I was contemplating late last night if I'm gonna take the basket off the lower frame to do that, and that's a possibility. I might do that. We'll see. But for now, I gotta get this rolling. Right on. All right, there it is so far. That's 3 cans of the Rust-Oleum, and what I decided is I'm going to put this back on, get the rotator and stuff. I'm going to clean up that part, but I'm going to get this back on so I can get this bottom stuff a little bit better, and without having to be down on my hands and knees and blowing dirt around to clean it off. So that is what I think I'm going to do. Either that or remove the basket from the lower frame, which is just more, and I'm not wanting to do more, just wanting to get it. My goal to this was just to spruce it up a bit, so I just got to keep to that plan. That's what I'm gonna do, is just keep sprucing it up and not try to make it a full restoration. Just make it look better, get the rust under control. So for now, there is the basket. 3 cans of Rust-Oleum. I gotta mask off the stickers, and that's what I mean about getting down lower here. And on the inside, easier to get on the inside. That rust was coming through that primer again. It's Rust-Oleum primer, but man, it wasn't holding that rust back very well. It looks better, let's put it that way. Looks pretty good. 20-year-old unit, 25-year-old unit. So it's looking better. As would be my way, yes, I brought the basket out front here, and I am going to take the frame off the basket so I can get at the stuff better and get this thing. I may put different paint on this. I might put some POR and then paint it blue. It's a little bit rustier than the rest. but I did spray some liquid wrench on the mounting bolts last night, and see how that works. And of course, as would be my way too, it starts to rain. I came out early to get a jump on stuff, and it's raining, sprinkling. And then what I'm going to do as part of my little escapades with the basket today is, oh, by the way, I found this thing, this battery thing here, right down there yesterday. It's nothing from my stuff. Couldn't come off of one of the buggies, or out of one of the buggies, because it's up here. So the only thing I can think of is that a bird dropped it. Then I start thinking, well, if I got an idiot coming around, why would they have a battery and it had a rust spot on the top? So it had to have been outside for a bit, which makes me think it was in somebody's, a bird or something. Curious, but anyway. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, well, I think that one's just turning from the inside. Let's see this one. Might have to use deep balls. That one doesn't even turn, that one. So let's try this one again on the top one. Well, there you go. The Delco wouldn't even touch that top one. This one just spun it right to hell. That's impressive. That is impressive in my humble opinion. That just shows me right there. That just shows me right there. Let's try it on one of these guys. DeWalt. Right up. Delco. Not right up. These inside ones must be tighter. Let's try it down on this one. Nothing. Well, they won. It already outperformed on that one. Yeah, man, this thing's got the shit over the DeWalt, that's for sure. Alright, well, that answers the question. I would say the DeWalt outperforms the Delco. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the rest of these bolts so I can take off this, our nuts and bolts. So this carriage for the basket can come off of there, and then I gotta blast it and paint it. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then I can get at the underside of these poles better, or the rails. I was gonna lift this up and put it on sawhorses, or even I've got a number of high lift jack stands. You can't see them back there. The tall like axle stands and stuff. And I was gonna set it up on top of that, but I don't feel like looking up and being underneath it. And I didn't want to leave it hooked up to the Kubota and get sandblasting and paint all over it. So that's that. I'll be back when there's progress had. GoPro, stop recording. So, as would be my way, if you recall at the start of this debacle, I said, no, I'm not even going to sandblast anything, just going to scruff it up and paint it, get it back on. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to sandblast it, but I'm not going to tear it down. So now here it is, tore down, and going to do even more sandblasting. And but it's not like it didn't need it. And if it makes me feel better when I'm up in the air on it, so be it. But it's drizzling, so I'm just kind of getting some rocks and picking some stuff out of the grate. And I opted for, I'm going to do for the bottom on the inside is I'm not going to cut this crap off and put new on, because it'll just bend as well. I'm just going to put a piece of treated plywood, drill a bunch, holes, use a hole saw and drill a bunch of holes in some plywood and set a piece of plywood in there, and kind of bolt it down and through this grating, and then that way, well, that'll be done. And I might even put some of this bed lining paint on it, because it gives it good gription and it sticks to the wood pretty well. So all right, well, it's raining again, but let me see if I can't get a few more picks out of this thing. And then what I might do is set up a new hood I got, and actually start setting up a new welder I've gotten that's been sitting here for probably 5-6 months now. We'll check it out. All right, back on the Genie, and tools of destruction are this and that. The blaster, I got some median in it, so this undercarriage has got to get done, and that has got to get done. So let's see what happens here. Let's see how this works. see what's going on here. I bought this at a farmer's, like, flea market Amish thing. The red dragon, green dragon, up in PA. And it is working fabulously at getting this stuff out. Other than that grinding wheel, probably faster, more efficient than the sandblaster. But I'll use the wheel and then the blaster to tidy this up even further. But that concrete it looked pretty good. All right, yeah, I got it for like a couple bucks. You can see it was like hand forged. Kind of cool old doodad. Well, it's coming along. It's not the best, but hopefully I can get done what I need to get done with what media I have left. Gotta blast that a bit too. So, with the interruption of a downpour in the midst of all this, which sucks, of course it happened right after I got done shooting the thing, with blasting the thing. I did get some POR, paint over rust, Rust-Oleum, sprayed on it to help minimize any of the rust. Since I blasted it, same over here. So this is all the remnants. And of course it got rained on, so now it's like just black oxide mud. So I did my diligence this time. I took a tarp, put this thing on top of a tarp to catch it all, like I did with the trailer when I blasted the trailer. So then I can fold the tarp up to dump it in a bucket. But since it rained on it pretty healthily, it's all just crap now. So let's see what happens when it dries out. So this is what I'm going to use on the bottom and base there. The goofiest thing, Delaware, this state, might as well call it Delafornia, because for a lot of reasons, but I can't get this paint in a quart or gallon. It says not available in Delaware, can't ship to Delaware. It's like, okay, well, whatever, get it in California, so we're actually worse. So I can't spray the thing, I gotta use rattle can. That in part is part of the reason why I'm using the rattle can. But so yesterday, of course, I had this out and we had the rain come in, but I did get it back out here and got some of the paint over rust spray can put on it to help keep it from continuing with its rust. So I'm gonna hit the base, the bottom of it with the rattle can, and see how far I get this evening. It's gorgeous out tonight. It's like no humidity and nice slight cool breeze. So we'll see. If there's a will, there's a way. So since I've got to put that carriage on this by myself, I'm hoping that these will help get, because these bolts are just floppy in there, and there's no way I'd get them to all line up and not flop back and I'd start cussing. So I'm trying to see if I can keep this so I can weed them through. We'll see. So I've wrapped some gardening wire around the bolt, and then I'm putting these tubes on, as you can see down there. I'm putting that wire through it, so this gives me something to hold on to. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a bit. All right, so this now needs to go on to that. And that's a fat jack. Not Billy Jack. Not Jack in the Box. Not Jack LaLanne. But Fat Jack. Alright, let's see how we do this, Chris. You go flippy doolittling off on me, man. So this is now where my little doohickeys are going to come into play on the bolts. Stay on there, thing. I'll show you. I hope it works. There. I hope this works. Okay, so just trying to get this one on there. Back on there, I should say. Hope this works. Like that. Okay, so they're through. Let's see how this goes over here. Again, this is I just did this to make it better. It's gotten scruffed up. I keep moving it around, and it's I just keep kind of putting paint over the paint as I scruff it up. See, like that's gotten scruffed back up. It's back down to the primer. Put some more paint on it. Man, I was up on the roof today having to replace an exhaust fan in the attic. I had to go on the roof. My daughter was in the attic to hold some bolts, and I'm telling you, man, that was a chore. The palm of my hand got burnt from up on the roof. It was so hot up there. In the attic, it was so hot. It was a killer. The task itself, you know, is not that difficult. Shit, this is why I put the wire on there. Just in case, like that. So now what I gotta do is get my, that side came off. Stainless nylocks. Hey, what's the deal here? Oh man, that's not the right washer. Good, I got 4 of them here though. Okay. All are started. So now I gotta go get my U-bolts. Yes, I do have knot locks. Yahoo. And I do have washers. Just don't have any thick washers. Alright, got everything loosely mounted. Gonna do a little touch up, and then we'll tighten everything up. And then it's gonna be ready the time to get it back on the machine. With the rotator, I gotta bring the rotator out here and paint it. And a couple other little touch-up things on this other cylinder, and everything is good to go back in. Before in between stage. So there's the rotator back on, and these are 1/2 inch 13 by 1 1/4 long grade 8. I got them zinc coated chromate. I put stainless lock washers on there. I did put some blue Loctite on them. And this big guy is a 1 inch 8 by 12 inch, and there's an eye lock nut down below in the washer. So I ordered a grade 8 super oxide corrosion resistant bolt and washers and a new nylock for that. So I just got this one in there now. That other one should be here like tomorrow from McMaster Car. I did put some fluid. I think I filled up the bottom cavity. It's rotated to the top, so there's not much room to get any fluid in there. So I tried to get some fluid in there as much as possible, so minimize the air. Okay, so for the Genie lift and the rotator, attaching the rotator to the basket, here's what I got. Got some oversized super duper corrosion resistant washers, 1-8 by 12 grade 8 bolts, and a grade 8 nylock bolt nuts. So that is for the rotator. There's bolts for the rotator. Got some stainless carriage bolts to put a piece of plywood down to the flooring of the basket. So there's a brief shot of some of the hardware going back on the rotator, the carriage, the basket, and the carriage to it. Stuff. Drill, jigsaw, drill, hammer, clamps, straight edge, ruler, template, and a mess of holes. So this was the 4x8 pressure treated. Now it's not a 4x8 and full of a bunch of holes and still pressure treated. And it's going to go on the bottom of that. I just wanted to run a bunch of holes in it to help it drain and, you know, help keep stuff from water and stuff from just puddling on it. You know, maybe help reduce some weight. Lord knows I need all the weight reduction I can get. All right. Alright, this is what I'm gonna paint on that. There we go. Man, I've had this around for a long while. It had a cap of about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch thick, dried, but that kind of capped it off to keep it dry. So I'm going to roll that onto that wood, and then it's going to go on here after it dries. But I'm going to take that foot control off, and I'll mount it on top of the plywood. My floor is in. I guess still have to put the foot pedal back in, but the floor is in. Stainless. You can see there's the stainless carriage bolts so I don't trip. They stick up a little bit. I can't suck it up too much because it'll pull the grating up and then it'll break the welding and stuff on the cross beams or the carriage. So anyway, I got it on. It's pretty secure. I got to get this one sucked up more, but the carriage bolt is just spinning, so I got to grab the head of it with this one. I got to grab the head of it with the vice grips and try to reach around and get it under control. And next will be the floor control, or the foot pedal. I'm going to paint it up and stick it back on there. But the floor came out pretty good. All the holes in it, so rain can drain out, crap, whatever the case may be, and go on from there. Okay. So there's the foot control with some Rust-Oleum POR on it, and then I'll shoot it with that to blend, just to tidy it up a little bit. I didn't get inside. Like I said, this is not a full restoration, so I'm not pulling that all apart just to do the insides to make it look pretty. It bugs me not to do it, but I gotta get going on this thing, man. I'm so far behind on it as it is. Anyway, that's that. I did make a template with the holes. I already got them drilled into the floor of the basket, so I'm good to go to mount it as soon as I get it painted. Alright, and I replace this behemoth with this behemoth. This is an 1.5 inch nut bolt. This doesn't. Come down in. I've got it bolted in up here. I don't want it to slide down in here. That's what I'm not wanting it to do. I think that should work. Got it out. Pull it out that way. Let's see what happens here. It's not slipping any. Alright. So this is a grade 8. And these are super resistant, corrosion resistant washers. Let me get something to wipe this down with a little bit. Man, we've been just getting deluged with rain. A deluge of rain. last night and today. Everything fell, as would be my way. Bend down to get it, as would be my way. Okay. And there was reason and purpose for that. I was looking for that bugger. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for finding me that little nut, because that saved me probably an hour looking around to figure out what it's called and to find it. Alright, super whammy washer, 1.5 inch nylock. Going. So now I can't use this on the nut end because it's not deep well. So, but what I can do, will do, That's all, not all. I got another set. That's my 3/4 inch stuff. I should rephrase that. That's some of my 3/4 inch stuff. I have another set in the other garage. Wrong adapter, Chris. Right adapter. All right. Viola, or voila. Once had a client was asking some questions, and I gave him the answer, and then, you know, I was kind of saying, and there you go, voila. And he sends me back, thanks, Viola. Dude thought my name was Viola, and I said, there you go, voila. I did paint this, as you notice. It's now blue. Sorry for the fan, but I just put a light coat on and then just kind of globbed it on, and it's the way it is. It's going to be thick. It'll have plenty of time to dry and harden, and things got to get moving. So once again, just real briefly, how I work. I only needed 4 of these things, right? Here's the ones that were on that hold the canopy that covers the control box, that canopy. I only needed 4 of those new ones. And of course, so I got those guys. I got those guys. So I got 2 sets. There's another set, bear with me, and these guys. So I got 3 different sets. All 3 of them are stainless, but they have different rubbering on them, all same size. So these were most like what I had and would have been fine, except they're in stainless. These were kind of an upgrade with the rubber and stainless. And then these are like a silicone that are supposed to be great for weathering, and they're stainless. So that's that. And then for the rotator, right, I needed 4 bolts or 6 bolts. And there's what I, oh yeah, forgot. And there's what I wind up with. Because I ordered these like from Amazon because I can get them quickly, thinking I'm gonna need them. But then I ordered this stuff from Bolt Depot as a backup. Get those. I kind of think they're better. And then I think these were another Amazon, different style. Zinc chromate, grade 8 zinc chromate. They're all grade 8. So you can see washers. I did better on the big bolt. I only needed 2 washers in the bolt and the nut, and I only got 4 washers. These were, in case those ones didn't work, these are also zinc chromate, but those black ones are supposed to be better corrosion resistant than those guys. So anyway, there. That's how I wind up with a massive shit. So when I have my estate sale to move, people are going to be thrilled with some of the crap. Anyway, what I have to sell. That's it. Ciao. I happen to have a grommet that fit, because that one got cratered through age. And you can see, foot pedal is installed. 1/4-20 1.5" bolts. I used the existing washers because they're thick fender washers, but I used some stainless nightlock. So that is on. I also did a quick, I put some heat shrink on the cord there where it was junctioning into the pedal because it had gotten worn a little bit. So I put some heat shrink on it, and it's ready to get tilted back over and get mounted. I gotta figure out where I can find torque specs for this stuff. I don't think it really much matters as long as it's taut, because the swivel is from the unit inside here, you know, between that bearing and that bearing, so where it swivels. This base and flange obviously stay affixed, so it's not necessarily torque. Yeah, that's fine, whatever I put on there. Cinched them down so they won't come undone. And I put some blue lock thread lock on those, and that's an eye lock, so that should be good. Alright, I'm going to flip this thing back over here. Basket ready to go back on. Better, for sure. Alright, rotator done, slave cylinder right there is done. That's going back in. Right on. Alright, so before we put the basket back on the boom, I'm going to take this line off, put it in a bucket of transmission fluid, and my lovely assistant Liz is going to mash the the tilt button around for me. Put my orange gloves on right now. It's like four-wheel drive. I always wind up putting my gloves on after my hands get crappy. And you should put your gloves on before your hands get crappy. Just like you should have your four-wheel drive on before you get stuck. Same concept. Orange gloves, four-wheel drive. Putting on, engaging. Okay, up. Down.
Down.
Let me go get this cylinder. After a bit of consternation, I think that's the word, shouldn't use it, can't spell it, and assistance, we got the pin through on the slave cylinder. All right, that's in. That part is done. All right, slave cylinder is mounted back up in the boom. That was a stroke idea right there. Okay.
That was clever, man.
I saw somebody else do that, so I thought, hey, let me try it. And it worked. Alright, so next is we're, I guess, at the point of bringing basket to boom. So let's see.
I wasn't thinking about the bottom one.
Let's find that one's. Oh shoot. Dang it.
Now we wish it wasn't strapped on.
Yeah, I can't move it forward. I don't have any. So I gotta come forward, son of a bitch. Because if I take the strap off now, it's gonna go boop.
Oh. Alright.
Unless I might be able to bring the forks up. Let me bring the forks up.
And unstrap.
So it might move it around just a little bit. Set that down somewhere so you don't have it. Let me bring the forks up so it's sitting on the forks.
Okay.
It might jostle it around a little bit, but we can realign. This is going a lot better.
Praise God.
And because seeing this can.
Yeah, we probably should leave this out in the hot
That's.
sun.
Okay. Hold on, this the strap is pretty tight now. It's not letting me. Watch yourself. Is it? Yeah. Actually then,
Try to raise it up a little bit though. And come forward.
well, you got to recall that we're on gravel and lumps and bumps. It's not like this. It's not like this a surgical precision here.
It'll make it easier now.
Well,
But you to come up like 2
yeah, I'm
inches
trying just.
forward, a little tiny bit, like 1 inch, if you can. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Perfect for the top. Well, pretty much perfect.
It's back in action. Everything's functioning. Whee! And it calls ass. That one was working, but I didn't do anything with that except I wanted to check it for the basket level, and that's worked much more smoothly. I'm digging on that. Oh yeah, I'll be a painting fool. Rotator's rotating. Stops. Got it timed properly. That's a good thing. Pedals working. Low idle. Everything's functioning. How about that? There we go. How's that? I think that's pretty badass that I'm back in action. So the auxiliary power was having a hard time with stuff. I don't know. I think I might have burnt something out with the auxiliary power. Smelled something burning when I was using it. But so stuff is functioning, new floors in, all the cylinders are functioning, the slave cylinder is back in, the rotator's back in, things are rotating and slaving and all that good crap. Back in business. And now I got to use it tomorrow to go trim some trees. What do you think of that? I think that's badass. So I got a couple of bolts to put in this thing and call it a day. We're gonna go trim some trees. How's that sound? Firing up. All right. Weapons of destruction. The custom pole saw. Still battery powered hedger. And that's what we're gonna go work with. Right. See you at the trees.